Stop playing music. I know that sounds weird, but hear me out. Of course, we all want to play music, but after teaching over 7,000 of violin lessons, I noticed something troubling, a pattern. And without further ado, let's get started. What I've seen and continue to see violinists of all levels who spend most of their time playing music. Well, and you may ask, what is wrong with playing the songs? But very often it doesn't sound good. And you can clearly say that these people have a lot of problems when they play their music. And when you start talking to them and ask them some details about the instrument, how they do that if there are any struggles, what would they like to improve, very often they don't know what to answer because the only thing they were taught to do and continue to do is just practice a lot of songs. One thing most of them can say for sure, that many things they don't like. They can hear themselves, they don't like the way it sounds, but what exactly happens, they don't really know that. So then I ask such students a question, what do you try to do to solve these problems? And most likely I hear the answer like, nothing, I just keep playing my pieces. And most of times playing for them comes to just getting all the notes right. And when you ask them something about like, oh, do you know what this piece is about? What's the dynamic, what's the character, what can you bring out from this? They don't really know these things because the only thing they're concerned is how to play the notes. Most of the times they don't really understand how the sound is made of. They don't know what are the principles of the right hand. They don't know what the left hand should do. They know that somehow in connection it should all make a sound and it should really sound like a famous melody or a piece. But when I ask them to demonstrate their skills, for example, by playing a scale, so I can see what they have, or sometimes if these are beginners, I just ask them to play open strings, and from that I can understand a lot. And many of them, they still struggle to do that. You can clearly see lots of problems once they start to play the scale and its intonation, rhythm, sound, and many other things. So these gaps that they have in fundamentals become instantly obvious. And when I ask them about, have you ever practiced fundamentals, like have you done something for the right hand, something for the left hand, do you know that? Normally they would answer that they did that, but they did it some time ago. Like maybe once they just started, maybe a few lessons, few weeks, and after that they start to pick some pieces and they keep practicing this. And that brings us to the point. Many violinists try to learn essential violin skills by playing pieces instead of practicing them separately. And with that approach that they use, time goes on and they just choose more complex pieces. But what remains unchanged is their approach, is their sound, because the problems are still there. Nothing gets solved, nothing changes. Their understanding is the same. What is changing is complexity of the pieces, but the quality doesn't come along with that. In fact, what I've been noticing that it often gets worse. So even though somebody tries to go and have a progression into the music, their overall quality is getting worse and worse. But why does it happen? The desire to play difficult pieces often comes without preparation, without thinking, what do I need to be able to do on the violin so I can play this piece? Are there any skills that I need to develop so then I can try this music? In other words, what tools do I need in my toolbox so I can study this music, so I can play it, I can enjoy it, I can discover it, and I can benefit the most from that. And this process, you can compare it with like going to the gym first time in your life. And then after training for a few weeks, somehow you decide that you're ready for heavy weights to lift. You're ready to do something what for others it would take some years of preparation. It just doesn't work this way. The processes on the violin have to be gradual, like on any other instrument, and not just the instrument, like everywhere in any craft that you're wanting to do. But some people might say, come on, Nick, like, really? They just want to play music, you know, they will figure out all these difficulties on themselves once they start it, you know, that is not a big deal. But it is a big deal, because what I've been noticing is, well, of course, a healthy amount of challenge in the music, it has to be there, right? When you choose a piece, it's not always something super easy. Sometimes it can be a little bit more complex, but at least it should be something manageable for you, right? But the problem with all this method is that along with this approach that so many use just by playing songs, many other problems come. Generally, they start to feel emotional stress. They start to get frustrated because many things they don't work. many things, they don't sound the way they think it should sound. Because, it's so complex, like, I don't know how to do that, I don't know how to do that, how do I put it together? Oh, frustration. The violin is too difficult. I'm gonna quit. It's not for me. And this is one of the reasons why so many quit the instrument, because they just find it too hard. They cannot handle it. But the problem is not with the instrument, but with the way you handle it. And another severe consequence of playing only pieces is that inside of the process, the students, they gain a lot of bad habits. This is true. Because they try the things they're not ready for. They don't really work for them. They try to find their own ways. They forget about posture, freedom, all these kind of things. And it's a really good conditions for bad habits to grow. And that's exactly what happens. And the problem with the habits that once they're established, it is very difficult to get rid of them. And now maybe the main question, whose fault is that? It is easy to blame students and say, oh, you're doing it wrong, or you should be doing this. Okay, it's easy to say. But in my opinion, it's the teacher's fault, first of all. Because the teachers are those who actually responsible for the process of studying. They're responsible for how to give you information so you can apply it properly, how to make the process gradual for you, so it's step by step. You don't feel any stress. You have an enjoyment from studying the instrument. The teachers are those who explain you how to listen, how the sound is made of, what does right hand do, what does left hand do, how to practice. So many things depend on the teacher. So in other words, the teacher brings the method, and some don't have a method, because having no method, which is also a method, and this is where all the problems are. I have especially strong concerns about the teachers who work with the kids, because I've been seeing so many talented children, those who just, like sponges, they have a great potential, but they're being destroyed. Their technique, their all potential has been destroyed by the teacher's expectations that the student has to play this, and you see that these kids, they don't enjoy it anymore because it's just so complicated for them. Nobody works on the scales, fundamentals, posture, all this thing, freedom. Nobody does that. Just more pieces, more difficult. Quality doesn't come along, as I said before. And with the problem with the kids, that when they acquire bad habits, they can be physical, and for kids it's more dangerous, and eventually they play the instrument that hurts them. This hurts, and they hate it. They're not gonna like it anymore. This is why it's so important to choose a teacher carefully, because you need someone who can offer you a logical, structured way where things are simple for you, not chaotic. The one who works with you on a quality, who puts a quality as number one thing, not just fake complexity. Then the teacher is also the one who selects repertoire, first of all, for you. The repertoire that will allow you to express all your strong abilities, to expand your potential, not the repertoire that will make you frustrated and stressed about violin studying. And that's exactly the kind of students I've been working with over the last 5 years. I have many those who came with bad habits, with no method prior. And it's interesting that really want to learn the proper way. They're really interested in how things work, because they don't know. They just know how to put F sharp and how to put C, all these kind of things. But they're really interested in the process. What is here? And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun and knowledge that you can get out of lessons, and all my students, they enjoy this process. If you truly want to enjoy the music, you need to respect the process. And it's not about how many pieces you've played. It's about how well you understand the way your instrument works. The mastery doesn't come from rushing ahead. It comes from sometimes slow, thorough process with details, step by step, without stress, where you can really build a lot of foundation for your playing. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel, because here on Violin Science, we're gonna go deep into many interesting things. And if there are any topics or questions you never got answers for, make sure to drop them below. See you in the next video.